father split when I was about 15. My mother was in love with a dirt-smeared carpenter. I thought, I know mothers aren't supposed to leave, but she's a person and people are supposed to be happy, or at least try to be. I knew she wouldn't be leaving unless she had to, and I had seen those mornings. Those mornings she had to get up to take me to school, but only because she had to. She could have stared at the wall all day, so pale and sad and drunk by nightfall, it could break your heart. My father was an eccentric sand trap where anything interesting was invited to stop by and stay forever. He had a lifelong habit of doing things like not paying taxes for 10 years, bouncing checks, being late to everything, and generally living on the fumes of dreams and promises, of false entitlement and profound snobbery. When my mother fled to Connecticut, I chose to stay behind in the ramshackle circa 1860s farmhouse outside Princeton, New Jersey with my father. And there, in our dilapidated bachelordom, I was the sole audience in a complex philosophical treatise daily expounded upon. Very few people really understood what was going on, Katie. They fell prey to pathetic, ignorant pastimes like watching sports on TV or matching their rugs to the curtains. I grew to be suspicious and disdainful for almost all adults but my father. And I grew proud of my house, its idiosyncrasies, its refusal to participate in the mainstays of suburban life. I snickered at my own friends' homes, their beige carpets, their manicured gardens, their homes where the hearty breathes, their play settings, their gleaming white bathtubs, their stiff, boring parents, lumpy with age, droning on about work, about the veterinary bills, about nothing, smiles limp. I pitied them. But now I know I was more of a junkyard dog than a lion, growling out of fear, snarling out of misplaced pride. Nobody wanted what I had, but I prowled the perimeters of my gritty little pile, flashing tiny teeth and wretched claws. I was desperate to protect it. At the height of this chaos and my adolescent yearnings, age 15, I had just gotten home from summer camp. We'd had a mosquito infestation and my ankles were swollen with bites. They'd blasted the shit out of the whole place with huge plumes of gray smoke, the acrid smell wafting through the trees caught in thin streaks of sun. We giggled and gagged and scratched, the milky white rivulets of anti-itch cream running down our arms and legs as we plunged into the murky lake. Most importantly, I had made out for the very first time. And on this fine August afternoon, the sun hanging lazily in a pink-strewn sunset, my mother, who was recently separated, not legally, but physically, from my father, had driven me and my best friend Stephanie to the CVS in Princeton to pick up my photographs. My mother often visited me in New Jersey, careening along the highway from Fairfield, Connecticut in her grumbling Ford Escort. She stayed in the single-bed guest room on the second floor. Hey, how are you? I'm here to pick up some photos. Name, Tandy. The slim girl turns away from me to rummage through the stack of white paper envelopes. I rub my foot against my ankle, nervously scratching my welts. Tandy, here you go. I practically snatch the envelope from her hand, tearing the envelope open. I stroll down the aisles back to Stephanie, who's thoughtfully looking at the condom section. Ta-da! I grin, brandishing the pictures. Just wait till you see them. Yeah, let's see the goods. I open the envelope, the glossy pictures sticking to my fingers and to one another. The first one, I don't recognize. It's somewhere in the woods, but not my woods. The second one, I don't recognize either. It's cliffs and water, yellow flowers. Confusion crawls over me. Shit, they must have given me the wrong ones. If they lost them, And then I see it, my father's girlfriend's vagina, splayed across a flowered bedspread. Holy shit, these must be my father's. Fuck, I'm hysterical. I'm flipping through the photographs at breakneck speed. I'm eager to see all of it and none of it, and I'm cursing and I'm moaning. Oh my God, Stephanie says, shaking her head in delight and amazement. She's naked. She looks me square in the eye. Your dad's a freak, Tandy. Will you shut the fuck up, please, I say. It's kind of awesome, actually. I hope I'm up to freaky shit at 50, and she looks good. Great, really. Good for your dad. She pauses. God, look how big her bush is. I look down and consider the scene. Dorothy, Tink, as my mother has dubbed her due to her tiny lithe frame and pixie blonde hair. She's peering back, her face a disconcerting melody of cancer survivor and Danaian queen. Fuck, what do I do if I throw them out? My dad will know I found them because they'll be missing. Or my mom is going to ask me where the pictures are, and I say they're not ready. She'll say, I want to speak to them, and they're going to say, we just handed them to your daughter. And Just calm down. Tell your mom they fucked up and they aren't ready. She isn't gonna ask about them, and chances are, it won't be the same people when your dad comes, and they won't know you picked them up. They'll just think they lost them or something, just throw them out. Your mom can't see this shit. Okay, you're right. I glance madly around looking for a trash can. I spot one behind the pharmacy counter, but before I walk over, my mother spots me at the end of the aisle. Stephanie gives me a wild look. She's shaking her head, and she's pinching her lips together. Lammy, are you ready? You have your pictures? My stomach drops, and I just kick it along the floor until I reach my mother. I scoop it up, and I follow her out of the store, and Stephanie's tugging on my arm as we walk. Will you stop? I whisper through my teeth. I tell Stephanie she can have the front seat. I climb in the back, and my mother starts the car, but leaves the emergency brake on. So, let's see this mad fellow. She turns in her chair to face me, hand extended. Mom, these aren't my photographs, they're Dad's. And what do you mean they're Dad's? Why did they give you Spencer's photographs, and why didn't you just give them back? But before I know it, I'm just handing them over. I'm this deaf, dumb child, and I'm sick with dread. I just want to tear them from her hands. I want to scratch out her eyes. I want to break all the windows in the car, and I really want to laugh. Her thick brown hair falls over her face, and she begins looking through them. Oh, she exclaims. Oh, she says again, louder this time. I didn't want you to see them. I didn't know what to do. I am so sorry. Stephanie has her saucer eyes round. Her tiny tan face is profiled against the sidewalk as she looks out the window. She's willing herself into a cornfield. Well, my mother laughs, glancing down again. They're not dirty, really, she offers hopefully. It's disgusting. Are you serious? I'm shocked at her composure. I want her to tear them to pieces and curse my father's name. Katie, stop it. She's just naked. You're old enough to understand this sort of thing. God knows you're naked plenty. Stephanie snickers and agrees. I see her boobs every day. Lammy, I think you're overreacting. It's embarrassing, and I wish neither of us had seen them, but she starts driving, glancing in the rearview mirror. I'm trying to see her face. It's not much to look at anyway, she shrugs. It's like a little boy. We all laugh darkly. I admire her and think how noble, how calm, how stoic. The waning light is lifting my spirits, and I'm singing along, baby love, my baby love. And then I realize she's driven a half hour in the wrong direction. That same summer, my father took Tink to Maine. His best friend Stark, a brilliant, lonely, rather slovenly gay man, they had met at St. A's fraternity at Columbia years before, had an incredible house off the coast of Friendship. Perched on cliffs, yes, the same cliffs of the infamous photographs. The house had no running water, no electricity, and of course, a glass studio overlooking the yellow-tufted bluffs below. It was my father's favorite place on earth. Anyhow, my father had recently returned from his rendezvous, but I hadn't seen him yet. It was Wednesday around 2. He was probably at the Chinese buffet. Anyhow, I had been out all day with Jamie, Tink's son. Jamie and I walked into the kitchen and into the living room, chatting mildly, and we're wiping the sweat from our heads and plop heavily onto the couch. And then we see it. It's an abstract pastel of a naked woman on the living room wall. And yes, it is Tink. It is Jamie's mother. Her brown bush is peering at me, again, disguised, but unmistakable, her pale flesh winking. Shit, that's my mom, Jamie screams in his nasal warble. God, what the fuck, I offer. I shake my head, amazed at the undoubtedly twisted logic that led to this decision. I walk over and take it down, leaning it face against the wall. We try to carry on, but her bush is just burned into our mind's eyes. Jamie says his mother's coming to get him soon. I ask him not to say anything, and he promises. I wave to her from the porch as Jamie gets in. And then I wait for my father to return, flipping through the TV channels, the 35 magazines on the coffee table. I pet my dog. I make a Shirley Temple. I bide my time. When I hear the front door open, his 1, 2, 3 scrapes of soles against the rug, I stand up to confront him. Hello, he calls happily, his corduroy pants brushing loud and dry as he strolls into the living room. I don't answer. I gesture towards the painting. Really, Dad? You think this is appropriate? His face drops into an amused sneer. Katie, it's art. Don't be a puritanical little bitch. Dad, I don't care that it's a nude. I care that I know her. I see her all the time. Her son comes over here. Do you know how Jamie felt? I thought he was going to cry. It's not okay. It's really not okay. He shakes his head and walks past me to the kitchen. I follow him, still yelling. Yeah, I'm immature. I'm overreacting. You want me to hang up a big picture of my boyfriend's balls on the living room wall and call it art? You want to see that? He sniffs the glass, a neuroses of his that everything comes out soapy from the dishwasher. If it was any good, he says. Dad, seriously, you've lost it. You don't want to look at that any more than I want to look at Tink's business every time I walk to the kitchen. It's like crazy. If you think it's so great, hang it in your bedroom at least. You're acting as though it's a photograph. It's a very fluid rendering, quite subtle as nudes go. Yeah, if it's so fucking abstract, why did I know exactly what it was the second I saw it? Because it's that good. Dad, please just take it down. I can't talk about this anymore, not to mention Mom comes over here all the time. You think that's okay? Nancy would appreciate it for what it is. He pauses and widens his eyes. It's art, he spits. All right, fine, leave it up. See what she says. You're right. I'm sure Mom will love it. I'm sure Dorothy loves the idea of her son staring at her pussy on our living room wall. You're right, Dad. Totally. I stomp from the room up 2 flights of stairs and onto my bed. I'm already sobbing hot tears in my pillows. I hate feeling like I've let him down, that I don't understand, that I'm a child, I'm a coward. And I can't tell you how long I've been up there, maybe a half hour. When I hear his footsteps coming towards me, I wipe the back of my hand against my nose and sit up. I pick up the nearest book and pretend to read it. Monkey, he says. Yeah, I'm desperate to reconcile, but I'm angry and embarrassed. I can't even believe we fought about what we fought about. I can see how having the drawing in the living room was a little much, he says, sitting at the edge of my bed. I laugh and it gurgles through my snotty sinuses. You think? I shove his shoulder. But you will agree, it's quite good. In fact, I was hoping I could hang it in here. We laugh and he stands. Do you want to get some sushi? I nod. A few weeks later, I'm rummaging through his closet for shoe polish, and there is Tink's tender bush hanging behind his collection of sports coats.